Hi guys, Troublemaker here. This is Wargame Red Dragon, and my apologies. I have not had a match in 3 weeks actually, and the reason for it is because everyone's playing the beta, of course, and they've been making a lot of changes to the beta, and matches that people play are just immediately destroyed and cannot be used. So I haven't been doing a lot of matches. Thankfully, there's been a very large community of people that have been able to do them quick enough before the balances have come out. And during our downtime, I've been playing Grey Goo. Yeah, of course I've been doing that. But also, there has been a lot going on in the community. We have not one, but 2 tournaments going on right now. I won't be covering them in depth. There are a lot of channels that will be. I think some of them are actually pretty casual to be doing this, but I will be doing one a week. The 2 tournaments are a 2v2 tournament for Reddit and a 3v3 tournament for the Wargame forum. So this one is going to be the 3v3 tournament, of course. And as you can tell by the ranks here, we have a very, very exceptionally good team set. And without further ado, on the blue side, we have Random, Hunter, and TonkTonk. And they'll be representing the WTF. And for our red team, we have Firestarter, George S. Patton, and Fussel. And they will be representing a team called Brigade S word. It's got an accent in it, so I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. It's an S word, though, like sword. And they'll be playing as Pact. And, this is going to be DLC 3 beta as well. So, expect to see some units that are not quite in the game. But, most of you out there are playing DLC 3. And realistically, if you're not playing DLC 3, jump on in. There's way more people in DLC 3 right now than in the main game. And once the main game picks up DLC 3, the communities will merge together, and it'll be very, very easy to find games. So I'll probably see a lot more activity in the game right now. Wargame Red Dragon is still surprisingly one of the most popular RTS games in the world. Now, that isn't saying too much. I mean, RTS games are not highly popular, but StarCraft 2, Company of Heroes 2, Wargame has surpassed Men of War, Assault Squad 2, and it surpassed Grey Goo, which was actually just recently released, so that's highly embarrassing for Grey Goo. So still quite a very popular game 1 year out. And I do say 1 year out because the 1 year anniversary of the whole franchise, 3 year anniversary of the whole franchise is coming up soon. And with that, I'll be doing something special on that day, so we'll watch for that. And I'm not entirely sure what I'll be doing, though, because unfortunately a lot of the Wargame European Escalation replays were destroyed, which is why the YouTube video format is superior, because we keep these games for all time, and that has worked out exceptionally well for us. But with that said, the match is ready to go. We're looking at some of the highest rated players in the world, and we have a Buratino being rallied here by George S. Patton already, and no doubt he's going to try and fire it into this town or this town, because those towns are very, very important for hitting various locations, maybe even this area here. This is a very, very difficult 2v2 map to play, and they're playing it with 3v3, so it's going to be very, very congested. And we're going to see an airborne assault coming here by a Hunter. Looks like just recon. Probably just going to try and slide them into the middle of Gulf here. And almost entirely a ground-based approach here by Red. But we do have a small little hit squad here. This is not to get early position. This is to try and stop any sort of early air attack. So we have a single TY-90, which is an infrared. Has 8 ammunition, which is exceptionally high. And he can pick off a few helicopters with that. And then he has his Saklos launcher, which will pick off any front-leading units there. And immediately we both have identical positions here. Both sides are rallying recon to that location. A K-52 here in the south, trying to look for any kind of a sneaky play in this corner, but it looks like Mike will in fact be completely forfeited to the Red Army. Now the Hunter's not quite landed his. There we go, just in time for his Commando Para. And a lot of these recon squads, 10-man recon squads, have become exceptionally good using in battle, and this one is no exception. It has a anti-tank weapon and a sniper rifle, and it's a very, very large squad, a 10-man squad. That's crazy big. As a BTR 80A will move in here. 80A is fairly good as a carrier. In fact, I would say is one of the best. And Commando Paras are just picking off these Modus Junkies pretty darn fast. There's 2 of them here now. And looks like he's trying to try and position a few more infantry in the woods here. And we got a call for attack from random here. Might be seeing a bomber get rallied out pretty soon. Now on the north here, Firestarter has sacrificed quite a few units, but he's also gotten a few units in here. This is actually in neutral ground, so for him to lose this area would be very, very bad. He does have Legions, and looks like the matchup is very, very good for him. In fact, these light riflemen are a multi-purpose unit, but never mind, the Navy SEALs are now joining the fray with their frag rounds. Ooh, caught out in the open by the Legion, though. That could not go any worse for them. And the Navy SEALs will all get completely picked off by the Legion. Maybe one left. Well, that should not last too long. The Legion are going to try and evacuate, run away, and do get picked off by an M8 AGS as it comes in here. And it's only light riflemen left. The 3 smallest have been pulled out, moving around. U.S. Marines may try to jump in here. The smallest have all been wiped out, in fact, by fire from this ZTZ-85. And light riflemen doing their super, super long range thing. They're trying to hit up this recon squad that's trying to hit them back. And a bomb went, and it was actually quite good. Wiped out half this Fang Hua Bing squad. And we have a B-5 bomber comes in. This is the baby of the bombers. It does very big damage. Wait for the delayed drop here. Boom! Everything is gone. So this is good, sort of good for our red team. They have wiped out most of the forces here. There's still this M1A1HC Abrams here by TonkTonk, but that's it. And so now this is going to allow them to push forward, move into this area, wipe out these mistrials, and they will have this point. However, +2 currently going to Firestarter George as Patton and Fussel on our red team. They have capped all their 2-point bases. One 2-point base has not quite been captured here by our blue team, the WTF, and a Humvee CP is coming out just to do that. This will give a moderate lead here to Firestarter. And oddly enough, a Ranger squad kind of being deployed here, but the position in the woods here by Fussel will be very, very good. He's moving his Tunguska over to this side here. I'm not entirely sure why. Might try and be capturing people off guard. And the T-72A will, in fact, find these Ranger squads and maybe pick them off in 2 shots. Let's see. Will the shots be good? There is a bit of a random number generator here. And yes, 2 shots is, in fact, going to be perfect. Now, this means that the southern area is going to be very secure for Red. He can probably place a command, which he is going to do right here. And this is going to allow him to actually bleed again, even when the units come to play. Looks like an assault here by George as Patton into the woods against the Volskrim Jagers. And the brigade is looking strong. T-80U's running into a pile of U.S. Marines. Gets a few shots off, but he's going to pull that back. The U.S. Marines are going to try and run and chase him down. And there's actually a Burrotino right here. Very good area to fire on. It looks like it has been recently used to fire into these woods here. He's going to pull that back, though, which is a good idea. It's a very close-range artillery unit, so it can get kind of scary. Really, it's also very timed, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's not just spamming it. He's using it in small succession. And a group of Jagers has been able to get into the north here, but there is a Legion in play with a Yukjondai, and pre-positioning his Yukjondai on top of the Jagers so that this one cannot fire on him, and will actually wipe out both these units. There is another 40 units coming in here, though, so he's going to have to quickly dispatch this so that he can deal with this other one. The Yukjondai has the heat weapon, so it's the one that can deal with these guys, and there's actually a really neat thing here. There's no vision here. There's no vision here. So if you can put your Yukjondai in this town here, as soon as they come up, boom, they die. But he's got to quickly get that Yukjondai into that area, or will give an opportunity for these forces to marshal up and get a kill. And actually, very wisely, going to release his infantry preemptively to moving up, so that exact scenario doesn't happen. And he's also going to hopefully release this one as well. The LVTP has a frag launcher, which makes it exceptionally good at dealing with infantry. It has a super long range as well. So it looks like the U.S. Marines will be successful. Oh my god, B-5 bomber is in there to do the damage, and gets most of it. There's still 30 U.S. Marines here, though, and they're stunned because it is kind of ridiculous, but they will survive the day. Now, it's all about getting the forces up and the right kinds. A lot of these Yukjion dies coming up, but not a lot of these Legions. Legions will, in fact, be going down. One left. Panthers should be hitting the side sweeping here, though, with some good rocket fire with the Schneeb. And actually going to go for the bigger Yukjin Doi. And Legion completely out of ammunition now. Oh, that was a massive launch. And we'll be able to reclaim that area. Moving into the middle here, still a little bit of a problem getting past this wall of Volsgrim Jagers and Commando Pera. And there isn't that going to be an M11P Abrams moving into the woods here. They'll be able to quickly support and destroy Zimoto Tsuruki, as well as a lot of these vehicles, which have been the real thing hampering them. In the set, looks like Red has fully captured, and they actually moved a lot of forces up into the forward woods location. This is going to allow them an opportunity to flank the main blue ball here, coming up into these woods, hitting everything around there. And it looks like clearing of this woods here will be a new priority. This is a place where they can put a command because there actually is an access ramp right here. And if they can hold on to this woods, they can put a cap right here, which will neutralize the eventual blue 4 that will be there. Moving back to our exciting north location, looks like a ton of infantry have in fact been rallied in, and without a sufficient number of infantry in here, this will be very brutal. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more bombers coming in, though, because with large numbers like this from one side and smaller numbers from the other side, it usually means that the other side has invested in something way more expensive, like bombers. But Blue has successfully pushed back quite a bit far. Shilka are going to get very aggressive here on the Humvee. The Cult of the Autocannon is not quite dead just yet. Cult of the Autocannon, of course, a distinction that was made in Wargame Airland Battle as kind of a silly deck. So, yeah, here's the B5 Bomber, exactly. And a Super Entardar comes in here, but quickly runs away. And look at the great split here. The B5 Bomber has a very large blast range, so saving all these will be almost impossible. But, not bad, right? Right? He lost 7 U.S. Marines there out of all those units. That's a significantly great split. Every single direction away. Now, Firestarter's Recon will get some good shots, and the Shilka will actually get this U.S. Marine down very quickly. But exceptionally good play. Was able to survive, keep many of those guys alive. There have been a lot of funny vehicles in a lot of funny locations, and they're all sort of just getting discovered now. It looks like Red has been successful in capturing this woods location, and this will allow them to put a command. Actually, they've already put one in the town, so they don't need to put one here. But with this this forest location, this will allow for a new flank, so they can get this forest here, stop this reinforcing area here completely, stop this reinforcement area here completely, and then push into these woods. Get behind these towns and stop this reinforcing line. They can completely encircle that area. And so far, it looks like +3. They have all the 1-point zones controlled right now, and there has been really not a big attempt here by our WTF Blue 4 team to really stop that. We have a Leclerc moving across the map. Leclercs are exceptionally expensive, but very, very powerful. Recent balances have made them a little better, a little worse. A little bit of A, a little bit of color B. And we'll see how he's going to use this heavy tank. Probably in a similar manner to how the T-80U was used. Kill off the vehicles, take a few hit points off some infantry, but don't play too aggressive. Now with the T-80U coming in here, this can get scary. And we have the Buratino firing. Buratino, of course, is your napalm artillery unit. And a lot of people, when they use this unit, they like to just spam all of its ammunition as opposed to some of its ammunition. In this case, he's only using some of its ammunition, which is the smarter play. He's created a small line up here that creates a line of sight, but also does damage to them. We have a call for attack here from George's Patton. The Leclerc is available to fire on. Is it envisioned yet? Not quite, but he knows it's there. So he's going to move up some infantry to try and power into that. Now, speaking of our northern flank here, a few Legion haven't rallied out. B5 Bomber gets a big hit again, and looks like they'll be able to re-push into this town. We have 5 U.S. Marines moving around the southern flank here, and their goal is to kind of cover this road, but it looks like he might be getting a little too aggressive. Oh, he's decided to move right on back in, and yeah, a little too aggressive with him. Just needs to cover the road with him, basically. That's it. And then kind of, upside down the attacks. So this is not going particularly well for WTF, who have had a history in these tournaments of doing exceptionally well. Now, of course, the top team doesn't play anymore. They stopped playing. I've seen a lot of them playing Dota 2, to be honest. But WTF is one of the stronger teams in the game, and for them to be losing, to be spanked this bad, is quite bad. Now, some of these members are from WTF, of course, but they decided a distinct name for themselves. Yeah, we have a lot more infantry rolling in here. 3 BTR 80As, 2 BTR 60Ps, so there's only so many units that go on the BTR 80A. It's usually a Motostrelki. I believe it also could be the Legion. But the Legion are being carried in a very distinct aircraft. Not aircraft, motorcraft. And Spetsnaz Guru is getting wiped out here by the Leopard 2A ones, and looks like he's going to lose this little corner here that he's held for so long, thanks to, of course, the Commando Pera and the Leopard 2s. And unfortunately, this still doesn't get them rounds for attacking, because there's still a T-72 BU here that is covering the area. And worth noting, this is a small little thing you can do. I'm hovering over. What you're supposed to be focusing your eye on is the weapons loaded right now. Note that the SVIR SALH weapon system has been turned off. There's a very good reason for this. The reason for this is because a lot of times in micro, what you can do is you can just kind of peek your Leopard 2 out, draw the rocket, move back. And this wastes a lot of precious ammunition. But if you turn it off, that can't happen. Now what you do is you wait for them to come into range of 2300, 2400, something where the weapon will definitely hit. And that way, it's a guaranteed hit and you're not wasting ammunition. It's a small micro technique that you can learn to do. It is microing all the things like that can be very hazardous. Like all these radar weapons should be off right now. The OSA is not. The Tunguskas are. Tunguskas have a secondary weapon, the Sakalos launcher, which fires what would be the equivalent of an infrared weapon. Yeah, all your radar weapons should be turned off. All your missile attacks should be turned off. When you're using your airplanes, you should turn off the weapon you don't care about. For example, if you're targeting tanks, you shouldn't be using rocket pods. You should only be using the missiles. And if you're targeting infantry, you shouldn't have the missiles on. Or the autocannon. You should only be using those rocket pods. Unless, of course, it's something like a longbow, which has that really good range weapon, then that's completely different. So in the north here, another assault coming in here. Georgia's Patton and Firestarter bringing their forces together to try and rock this location. But the number of units here is actually still very, very good. Although these bombing runs have become less and less ineffective as these players have been splitting their units quite effectively. And that's a call for crime right now, because with that, there is going to be a little room for the WTF team to come back. They need to capture all 3 of these locations and hold them, and they're pushing very, very aggressively on all locations. Here comes the B-5 bomber and a Feibao. The Feibao, of course, is an anti-radar weapon and is looking for the Patriot missiles. Here he goes. 1 down, 2 down. He gets both Patriot missiles with 1 Feibao. That is beyond exceptional. He used the B-5 bomber to soak in their shots so the Feibao could get just in enough range to actually hit. Keep in mind, that's the complete opposite of what you normally do. In a normal situation, you use the anti-radar weapon in the front to kill off some radar weapons and soak some hits while the B-5 bomber does the damage. In this case, he wanted to get rid of those Patriots badly, and that's exactly what he did. Blue has moved very aggressively into the middle. They've taken all the middle locations. They just have to clear the southern area, which is full of the Spetsnaz, the elite of the Russian army. We have lots of mortars coming in to try and hold back this army, but a lot of this is going to be tanks. Mortars are effective against vehicles and infantry and will not be able to deal with these all that effectively in any realm of possibility. One thing that's been very bad about Blue Force play is a lack of bombers available. They haven't had any bombers in the game, not any effective ones. I mean, hitting this town is a very clear win. Now keep in mind, there are 3 anti-air weapons here. Compared to the very successful North, which has been bombed to hell, there's no anti-air weapons anymore. There's a Stinger. That's it. These are anti-helicopter weapons, and their Patriots were completely wiped out. That was probably shocking, because it's really hard to wipe out Patriots, even with Seed. Usually you have to rely on on. I'm gonna come up to this artillery, just because their range is so high. Both of them, the Patriots' range is so high, and the artillery's range is so high. We have another Buratino blast in this little square block, which has done a lot of morale damage to these units, but not a lot of actual damage, like little ticks of damage. Morale damage is really, really good, though, because that makes them very, very susceptible to taking damage, to having debuffs, and to missing, the most important part. And looks like, once again, red has completely swamped this location. Glorious supply lines of resupplying here. And blue is going to have to formulate a strategy for taking this back. It's going to be a lot harder than it looks, I guarantee it. And, of course, the south has always been a red for possession, thanks to Fussel's positioning initially of putting everyone in this jungle, moving up. He's always held this location. And now with the smoke in play, the VDVs will be moving forward. And probably moving into what might be thought as a trap. Now, there is a command helicopter and command tank heading this way, so Hunter thwarts it off, but oh my god, the Eagle might kill it. This is going to be bad. This is going to be so bad. He lowers it, he drops it, he doesn't want to lose that command. That could have been way worse than how it actually went. He immediately hit the land button there, and here comes our command M1 Abrams. And we have a bomb going to get dropped on what? On his own units. Oh no! Oh no! That is the worst possible thing that could happen. He completely misgauged where that was. And now the command M1 Abrams is moving in to neutralize the point. But there's a VDV squad here. Still alive. And this could get really rough. He could lose a lot of hit points on this Abrams. The Abrams can defend itself. It has 2 anti-infantry weapons that work separately to do double the damage. And as the VDV comes in the range, what are we going to see? Half of its health gone. Over half its health gone with one shot. This could be finished off by just a bomber right now. And the VDV squad does get cleaned up, but now it's low on health and going to be very, very susceptible to a lot of damage attacks, like just generic iron bombs. The middle here has been once again cleared out with one modal Strelki. But with the number of tanks here, the modal Strelki will not do too much. It is winding up its weapon here to take out that Panzer Grenadier. And should be close to even if mortars come into play. And here comes the J8Cs. Flying overhead. Sacrificial landing it, apparently, so the B5 can come in for the bomb again. This is a really awesome, exciting micro technique we're seeing here. He's using one plane to soak a bit of damage, and usually they're pretty darn cheap ones. And he comes in with that second plane to deal the damage. And the damage, not as good as it could be, takes 3 hit points off the M1 Abrams, but this M1 Abrams down here is completely dead sauce, completely gonzo. But there is a group to command, and no, we will in fact run completely out of time, because in fact we have 501 points for our brigade, and we have only 14 points for the WTF. I don't actually know the rules for this tournament, unfortunately, so I'm not sure. I'm almost certain that there will be a losers bracket that WTF will fall from to, and so it's unlikely this will be the last time we'll see WTF. Maybe on this channel, but not in the tournament. That's my point. I think they'll probably survive quite a bit. Random and Hunter are quite good. TonkTonk, welcome to the channel. This is your first time here. I kind of snotted in my mouth there. That was not intentional. But yeah, the win here was very clear. This brigade team just completely stomped the kills, almost double the kills. That very essential bomber technique where he used the B5 bomber behind something else. So the first thing would take the hits, and the B5 bomber would come in and do the damage. That was exceptionally good. But that's it for today. I will have something for the Wargame European Escalation Anniversary date. So join me for then. My name is Troublemaker. I'll see you guys next time.